Welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Mel McKay. I have some interesting guests joining me today, so let's get right to it. My first guests are Sulikyan and Dr. Paulomi Bhalla from Stanford Healthcare ValleyCare. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Now, before we dive in, can you tell me about the affiliation with Stanford and what it's meant for the community hospital?
Sure. In 2015, ValleyCare joined forces with Stanford, forming Stanford Healthcare ValleyCare. What this means for our community is that we are combining local medical expertise with the innovative healthcare provided by Stanford.
Wonderful. Excellent. Now, there's a new robot that is like the coolest thing ever. It's called Telestroke Robot. How are you introduced to that? Tell me about how that works, if you would.
Sure. So this robot is something that we acquired as part of our project to make ValleyCare a primary stroke center. And basically, it is going to allow us to have telemedicine presence of the Stanford neurologist located in Palo Alto.
So they can see through the robot's eyes and consult and help you diagnose.
Yes, it's actually very cool. If you present to our ER, at certain times of the day, you will be presented with a robot that'll come in. It has a little screen where you'll see the face of the Stanford neurologist. They'll interview you the same way that I would in person. You'll do an exam, and then they'll be able to make a diagnosis and move from there.
Wow, that's wonderful. I had to get into the geeky part of it right away. But first off, let's get into the campaign that you're running and how pivotal this is to treat stroke victims. So why is it necessary right here?
Sure. I think it's important to first note that while we are really, really fortunate to have Stanford as our partner and be part of the Stanford family, Stanford Healthcare ValleyCare is actually still an independent nonprofit hospital with financial responsibilities and requirements and fundraising goals.
Okay.
So in the summer of this year, we embarked on a really ambitious $1 million fundraising goal to raise the funds by December 31st to bring a much needed stroke program here to our community. Right now, if you have a stroke in Livermore and Pleasanton, Dublin, you call 911, the emergency personnel would have to bypass our hospital and take you to a different hospital because we are not a certified stroke center. We don't have a certified program. Needless to say, that delays care, and Dr. Bhalla can speak further about that, but that delays the care, and we feel it's really important for people to have care right away. In stroke, time is brain, and it's critical that we treat patients as soon as humanly possible. So given our expertise, local expertise, and the connection to Stanford, we now had the opportunity to expedite the launch of the program, and we launched the $1 million campaign, and it has been an amazing opportunity. Our community has been extremely generous, which is not unusual because our hospital actually was built by philanthropy. The community came together about 60 years ago, raised the dollars, and built the original hospital. So they are continuing that tradition and supporting us every single day, which we're humbled and thankful for.
That's wonderful. And I know that we had some very wonderful people that were matching 50% donations for a while. So it's so great to see how it's come together during this campaign. And there's still time. Are we close?
We're getting closer. Again, thanks to the generosity of our community, we are 60% to goal. Okay. And we have $400,000 to go in the next 35 days.
Okay.
I know we can get there. So.
Absolutely. Every time this airs, I think it's going to go up by $1,000 or $2,000, maybe 10, right?
Maybe 10, absolutely.
Let's get to that goal. 60% is awesome for where we are on this taping date, but we've still got time to make that happen.
Yes.
So that is wonderful. Now, where would they go if they're, say I have a stroke? Where is my closest care center?
That actually depends on the day, where you are, what's going on in a different hospital.
Okay.
So we can't speak to that. The emergency personnel in that moment make those decisions.
Okay.
But it could be, Castro Valley. It could be Walnut Creek. So it's not anything in the three cities.
And depending on our terrible commute issues, if there's an accident, oh my goodness.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the big benefits of having this telemedicine presence, as well as having access to Palo Alto's main hospital. If you come into ValleyCare after the stroke center is certified, actually even before that, because we're launching the telemedicine program soon, you'll be evaluated by either myself or Dr. Krishna Mohan, or off hours you'll be evaluated by a neurologist at Stanford, and you'll have priority transfer status to get to the hospital in Palo Alto if necessary.
Okay.
Via a helicopter.
Oh, okay, good.
Which is great, yeah.
Don't worry about traffic when
Don't
you're
worry
not
about
a
traffic.
helicopter.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, we have to take a short break, but we'll be back, okay? Stick around. We'll be back with more about ValleyCare Charitable Foundation. Welcome back. I'm here with Sulikyan and Paulomi Bhalla from ValleyCare. Thank you so much for being here, ladies. Now, Doc, let's talk strokes.
Okay.
We're here to talk about the certified stroke center that we need to build here, and the campaign is going on, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But let's talk about the ins and outs of stroke and why it's so crucial to get care immediately.
So first, let's talk about how often people have strokes. Right now, it's estimated that a person is having a stroke every 40 seconds in this country. Which
What?
is a lot, yes. In California, it's the leading cause of disability and the third leading cause of death. So it's affecting a lot of people. And the treatment for stroke is extremely time dependent. They've estimated that every 15 minutes delay that you have from transfer and treatment, every 15 minutes you can accelerate that treatment, you can save 4 lives. Yes, it's actually quite amazing. 7 people can actually walk out of the hospital that would have previously been disabled and non-functional in that regard.
Wow.
So it's very important to get your treatment very quickly. So what is a stroke? A stroke is basically a blockage of the blood flow within the brain. There's 2 main types of stroke. There's an occlusion of a blood vessel or a rupture, which is called a hemorrhagic stroke. The type of stroke that we're talking about is when you have an occlusion. As a bystander, you may wonder, what can I do, or how can I identify if somebody's having a stroke?
Yeah.
So we have this great mnemonic. It's called Be Fast, and it's 6 different letters that I'll talk about. So the B is for balance. This is if you feel that you're off balance when you're walking. It may be due to coordination issues or weakness in your legs. The E is for your eyes, and it's for vision. And there's many different ways your visions can be affected. You may see double vision. You may have loss of vision in one eye. You may have loss of partial vision in both eyes. The F is for face. If you notice someone's face is drooping, or when they may be drooling, that's a sign that the facial muscles might be weak. A is for arm, and it's essentially if you are unable to lift your arms, or if you notice one arm falling down, that's a sign of arm weakness. The S is for speech, and that can be any type of malfunction with your speech, whether it be slurred speech or confused speech. And the final one is for T, which is time. And that is essentially the minute that you notice these things, you want to call 911 and have the patient transported to the ER.
Is there anything that can be done? Say, unfortunately, it's happened to a neighbor, and I'm there, I've called 911. Is there anything that we can do besides just be there for them while we wait for the ambulance?
Well, a lot of the importance of treating stroke is time. So anything you can do to help speed up the process is what you want to aim for. So things that you can do are know the patient's medication, know the time of onset, and know if the patient's taken a blood thinner. Those pieces of information are extremely crucial when we're making our decisions in terms of therapy.
Okay. So if, say, it happens to me as I'm checking my mail, I see my neighbor lady and it happens, am I better to just throw her in my car and get her somewhere? Or is it better to call 911 so she has that? That's kind of where I'm like, what do you do there?
Right. So there's a lot of processes that are in place that involve the ambulance.
Okay.
So if you call 911 and you're evaluated by EMS and they identify that you're having a stroke, what happens is they contact the primary stroke center, which in this case is ValleyCare, and they say, we have a stroke that we're bringing in. What that does on our side in the hospital is that we're all notified. There's a stroke team that's notified, and we're all there to greet the patient at the door.
Okay.
So it saves all of that time in terms of triaging because we're already waiting to take the patient immediately to the CAT scanner and to
Okay, then call 911. Don't be a hero. Let the team be assembled.
That's right.
And help this person as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Wow, that is wonderful. Now, how about the charitable arm, the ValleyCare Charitable Foundation? Besides, I know this is a huge fundraising goal for you now, or you're focused on this. Is there any other fundraising projects that you're working on, or is this basically it until we can get that certified stroke center?
We actually raise money for all of the programs that are supported by the hospital and all of the services that are offered. So we are simultaneously also fundraising for our Women in Need Fund, which provides funding for women who can't afford services and treatment associated with breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
So other cancer services, we fundraise for our physical and sports medicine therapies and pulmonary rehabilitation. So we're raising funds for a lot of other priorities as well, but this is the main focus and the biggest campaign for us.
That's
right
wonderful. And having just gotten a biopsy done after my last mammogram, it was benign, thank goodness. But yeah, they're expensive. Even if you've got the health insurance for just the preventative care, which takes care of that stuff, by the time you get that peace of mind of knowing the biopsy, it can be quite expensive. So thank you for all you do for all types of medical conditions.
Thank you. Thank you for helping us spread the word about this campaign and our work.
All right, so we still need to raise that money. We've got $1 million goal, and we have until the end of this month, the end of this year, 2018, to wrap it up with that big $1 million, giant check, I'm hoping, right?
Yes.
There's going to be a giant check, right?
I hope so. I really hope so.
That's half the fun. All right. So is there any ways, quickly before we leave, there's no way known to prevent stroke, is there, because of the blood vessel issue?
I think in general, stroke is a lifestyle disease,
Okay.
just like heart attacks are a lifestyle disease. So in terms of preventing a stroke, the main things you can do is diet and exercise.
All right. That's the key to everything,
That
isn't it?
absolutely is, yes.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed our time together.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Stick around. We have to take a short break, but we'll be back with Pleasanton Weekly's Holiday Fund.